Martin Brink is a dealer, but his poison is paint. He's run this art gallery for years now, but his story is different to most.
My father was an art auctioneer, and I got to meet the artists on a personal basis, and that's where it began. It wasn't that difficult because I grew up with black people and I understood the culture. Since a young age, I had a very personal relationship rather than a business relationship. So it's been 20 years, and being a white Afrikaans dude, what I wanted to show is that in South Africa, we can and make a positive difference in the country's future.
It took Martin some time to grasp the subtle nuances in these pieces, but once he did, all he wanted to do was share them. Fast forward to a democratic South Africa, the works of art are even more meaningful.
You know, when the market for the black art was really white buyers, at the time, the white buyer didn't want to see the violence in the township. They didn't want to know about what was happening there. They would sit in their homes and there would be burning and violence carrying on in the townships. Now, the artists didn't choose that route. What they did was, if we take an example at Peter Sebeka, a very, very close friend of mine, in the bottom painting over here, illustrated, you will never see in Peter's painting black women walking towards you. He always painted the black ladies walking away from you. I often joked and said to him, Peter, can't you paint the faces? What's wrong? And what it symbolizes is the black ladies were working in white suburbs and they would return back towards their families. Now, if you look at the painting as such, you'll see that they still have their working clothes on and they're carrying symbolic white flags. Now, what this is about, Peter was reflecting upon the role that the black woman played in keeping peace between black and white.
And how did some of the art change?
This is Khatri Nava, one of our top contemporary guys. Godfrey has never really been recognized for what he is. But if you start to look at his work, you will see pre-apartheid, all the eyes of his figures were closed. And one of the questions I asked him in the beginning was, Godfrey, these guys are working with shovels and picks. You have miners working with hydraulics, powerful tools. Surely they have to look at what they're doing. And he laughed and joked and he said, you'll figure it out. And one day I did.
And what was this that you figured out?
Well, in his own words, he explained to me and he said, Martin, our eyes are closed to our current situation, and that's what's happening around us. But we have to carry on with what we do every day, mining, shoveling, playing music, or in this case, family. But that doesn't mean we accept it. Our eyes are just shut for the present moment.
Martin and Godfrey share a bond not easily understood by others. Godfrey is one of the last remaining artists from the Soweto School of Art. His works are sold almost everywhere now, fetching good prices.
I'm happy to see art around here because, it's in me. I was born an artist, so, to promote art and have people going for it is my pleasure.
Remember when we were looking at the art?
Yeah.
And the guys in those days didn't really get what you guys in Soweto were busy doing and the story you were busy telling.
Yeah, many people were not aware of something that is very important, but because it's a talent, A talent is like a footballer. He always plays football in the start, even if not in the field. Yeah. But wherever he is, carries the ball. But then, like some other artists, they carry brushes, They carry, a conte to draw something anyway.
Outside South Africa, the art was blatantly different, literal even.
If you look at this work here, you actually see the reality of what happened. And because at the time I was actually a military officer in the townships, this is reality. The Soweto school group as such also portrayed all the underlying things that was worrying them, but they chose a different route. The paintings speak of color, it speaks of love, it speaks of hope, of freedom, of them becoming free one day.
So, from artists who found freedom in their work to modern-day painters inspired by the past, let's meet another artist who has been painting in the colors of the Rainbow Nation. Patrick Rapai is 30 years old. He's formally trained in the fine arts, unlike artists of the old school.
Artists are storytellers. We are more like poets and the music composers. But the way we do it now is more of like the visual portrayment of it. We do it through paintings. So we show our emotions through paintings. We show our visions and the things that we've gone through, that we've seen through paintings. So it's a definite yes that we are storytellers. By myself as well, like depicting these kind of paintings, it's more like I'm telling a story of how people live, especially in this kind of contemporary world that we're living in. These art will live to tell that story probably 100 or even more years to come.
And younger generations are already learning, but 19 years into democracy, their reality is very different. Belinda Moses, Johannesburg.
News that moves. eNCA.com.